Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome back if you've been practicing with me. Welcome to anyone new finding the videos for the first time. Today I've got my chair here. I'm going to mostly stay in my chair. We're going to be flowing through some warrior postures today, which can all be done really easily from the chair or of course standing up. There's not much difference when you're standing or seated other than the chair is supporting you if you're seated. So it's a pretty easy transition between the chair and standing. If you are waiting for me to give you specific directions for standing or seated, just go ahead and find a posture that feels comfortable. Take a few breaths there, take a few moments. That can be downward dog, child's pose, seated nice and tall, depending on your setup. Go ahead and grab any props you might want to practice with. I'm mostly just going to be using the chair today as a prop. If you like blocks or blankets or bolsters, go ahead and grab those. Maybe hit play on some of your favorite music and we'll get to it. So I'm going to meet you back there and we'll start seated. Okay, so like I said, I'm mostly going to stay in my chair today just for something different for me. And I encourage you that if you don't usually practice in your chair, maybe giving it a try today might feel new and wonderful and keep those neurons firing in the brain. Sometimes it can get a bit monotonous when we do the same thing over and over again, and just trying something new, like practicing in the chair, if we don't usually do that, can really make it feel like they're firing on all cylinders. I know for me, I don't usually use a chair except for these videos, so this is a great opportunity and I take advantage of it pretty frequently when I use the chair as a prop. So with all that said, let's start to land in our space, whether that's on the mat or in the chair. Let's find a comfortable position. You could be lying down, you might be seated on the mat, cross-legged, or sitting on your shins, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you're with me in your chair, go ahead and get comfortable in your chair. Find those sit bones. If you have a back to your chair, you can use the back for a bit of support, but in any posture, we don't want to be slumping or making the props, in this case the chair, do all the work. It is important that we still are engaged and connected to our bodies. So feet can be planted on the ground, or this is a nice opportunity to stick a block under the feet if your feet don't reach the ground. And hands can come down to our laps. Let's roll the shoulders down and back. And if it feels comfortable for you in your space, go ahead and close your eyes. If not, maybe just turn the gaze down towards the floor and just find something nice and still to rest your gaze on. And once we settle in here, let's start to notice all the connections we've just made. So bottom of the feet on the floor or brick block, sorry. Maybe we're noticing the backs of the legs connecting to the chair. Excuse me. Maybe we notice our hands resting in our lap, regardless of whether the palms are turned down or up. Just notice that connection to your body. And again, maybe if you have a back to your chair, you might notice your back gently resting on the back of the chair. And notice any other physical connections between your body and your mat or your chair. Notice if there are any areas that are making themselves known to us, making themselves a bit loud. What I mean by that is any area of discomfort or dis-ease. And there's no good or bad thing about that. We just want to notice and make sure we're taking care. And a way to do that is maybe even just bringing a hand to any of those places that might be sending those signals to us and just acknowledging them and saying, I got you, I'll take care of you, I'm aware of you there. If you have none of those areas, that's great. Acknowledge the sensation of feeling total comfort and ease in your body. And then we can turn our attention to our breath. Maybe even start to deepen the inhale and exhale. So finding a nice rhythm of equal ratio inhaling and exhaling. Maybe that breath is a 3 or 4 or 5 count in and the same count out. So finding a nice rhythm for your breath. Try to send that Inhale and fill all the spaces of the belly, ribs, and chest. And then exhale, pressing all that air out. Feel everything draw back in, chest, ribs, and belly. The air presses out. So finding a few more breaths here. Inhale to fill belly, ribs, and chest. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Take another round all on your own. And if it feels comfortable for you to create a motto or a mantra that you can come back to, as well as the use of your breath, go ahead and do that now. It can be anything. I am confident, I am love, I am tired, I am happy, I am present, anything that resonates with you. A couple more breaths here, repeating that mantra, knowing you can come back to this deep equal ratio breath work and your mantra, your motto at any time if you find you start to drift away and start thinking about all the oh I wish I had's and the oh I need to do's, and try to find that center, that grounding, that presence. When we're ready, if the eyes are closed, we can blink them open, reposition ourselves on our chair just to make sure we're not slouching into the back there. Sometimes that can happen when we've got that support behind us. And we're going to start to move with our breath a little bit. Let's just keep going with a deep inhale, sweep the arms up, inhale here. And then exhale down to our sides. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach up, find length through the sides. And exhale. And again, inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Let's clasp the fingers. We can release the pointer finger so that we can sort of imagine finding length as we point those fingers up towards the ceiling, drawing the arms back, biceps by our ears. If you're standing, you're reaching through the feet as well to find a nice tall stance. Take another inhale here, and as we exhale, let's bend over towards the right, staying grounded through both feet and both sit bones. Nice big side stretch here. Inhale through center, reach up again, and then exhale over to the left this time. Feel that counterbalance of rooting the right side body down, whether that's the sit bone or the right foot into the mat. Another breath here, and then inhale and release. Good, let's roll the shoulders a couple of times or just shake it out, whatever feels good. Roll in the other direction. All right, let's inhale again. Inhale. As we exhale, if we have room behind us, let's sweep our hands behind us. You may need to scooch a little forward on your chair and clasp the knuckles behind. So I'm just going to turn sideways here. You don't need to move in your chair at all, but I'm clasping the knuckles. I'm supported by my chair here, and I'm going to open up through front side body, reach the knuckles down. You can release those pointer fingers again if that helps. Really open up through side body, continuing to reach the heart space up. We have a little arch in our back. Head can stay where it's comfortable. If it's comfortable to lean the head back, go ahead. Otherwise, just think about imagining you're holding a little piece of fruit here and keeping that angle on the chin. Another breath here. Inhale. Exhale, release to inhale, sweep the arms up. And bring them back down through center. Okay, I'm going to turn back to the front. You stay where you are. Let's just bring our hands shoulder height here. We're going to sweep our right arm underneath and reach back. Give ourselves a little hug. If you feel ready for eagle arms, go for it, but we're still warming up and the hug feels nice, let's face it. So just reaching back for opposite shoulders, giving ourselves a hug, splaying the shoulder blades apart. You can stay nice and lifted here. You could round down. Keep breathing. On your inhale, come on back up and release the arms at the same time to reach up. Exhale, we'll bring the hands back down shoulder height. Let's sweep opposite arm underneath. Bring those hands to shoulders, or like I said, if you feel ready for those eagle arms, go for it. Otherwise, nice big hug, splay the shoulder blades, stay upright, or round down. All right, let's come on up as we inhale. Release the arms. Inhale here. Exhale, hands through heart center. Shake it out. Roll the shoulders. Good. Let's do a couple rounds of cat-cow. For those of us seated, hands can be on our lap. And we're going to use the hands to sort of help guide the shoulder blades together and further apart. So we're going to inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together as the heart reaches up towards the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to press into our thighs, press the shoulder blades apart, round down. So if you're on the floor on all fours, you're pressing the floor away to find that cat back. And then we're drawing the belly and heart space down and up if we're seated, if you're on the ground, or up through reaching up to the ceiling if you're in the chair. And then round down, press the knees away or the ground away, find that rounding. And then inhale up, pull the heart space through. Couple more rounds all on our own here. Exhale again. Inhale, find a neutral spine. Awesome. All right, shake everything out. Let's get into the hips a little bit. Start warming up. We'll bring those hands back to our lap. You might want to step the feet wide, just depending on what type of chair you have for a bit of support. My chair is a little wobbly, so I like to make sure I have a nice strong base. If you're on the ground, continue with cat-cows, maybe finding some barrel rolls. If you're in the seat with me, just rolling through the hips here. So just doing some circles, noticing the weight shifting from side to side, noticing your floors creaking. Oh dear, we live in an old house. She's been good to us. All right, let's come up through center. We'll switch sides. If you're seated in a cross-legged position and you want to switch the cross of your legs, go ahead and do that. And then we'll just rotate in the other direction here. So noticing how the hips are feeling as we rotate, noticing the weight shifting from side to side in this direction. And let's come up through center. Good. Let's get into a little bit of stretching. Let's come into our figure four. So if you're in the chair, we're just going to cross our legs as if we're seated in a chair. We'll keep a little bit of action in the foot here. We can bring our hands to our knee and ankle, and we'll sit up nice and tall. Now, if you're in a cross-legged position on the ground, by all means, you can do this as well, or you can do a seated figure four, or go ahead and lie down. You could even do a recliner where you can reach through your leg and draw that opposite knee into your body. So lots of options for this. Nice and easy though, as we're still sort of in our warm-up. Take a big inhale here. And if you need a little bit more, you can start to hinge forward. And if you want a little bit more even, you can start to round down. The hands might even reach for the floor or block, or you can stay supported on the knee and ankle. A little bit of action through this flexed foot here. Stay for another breath. Notice where we're feeling the stretch. Notice if it changes, if we change our position from rounded to flat back, or from flat back all the way back up. So take a few more breaths wherever you are. I was just easing off the sensation a little bit by coming up. And then we'll come all the way up. Good. Let's keep the cross and actually cross it in tighter. So now if you're on the floor, you might have one leg out in front of you and you'll cross the right leg over top, or you might scooch the bottom leg underneath you as well and come into cow face. If you're in the chair with me, we're just going to cross those legs in even tighter and we'll come into a little twist. So we're going to twist towards our bent legs. We're going to twist through the belly, ribs, and shoulders, twisting towards the right leg. Our left arm comes across to help us find the twist, and our right arm either plants into the ground to help us find a nice tall spine, or maybe even grabs onto the back of the chair. And we're just using a little bit of push and pull, pressing the hands into the legs, legs into the hands to help us deepen the twist here. Let's look over that back shoulder if it feels okay and stay for 3. Inhale to find length for 2. Exhale to find depth for 3. And then we're going to inhale, come around to the front. If you're seated, you can lean over, do a little counter stretch. And then we're going to uncross the legs, give them a little shake, give them a little pat, and we'll go to the other side. So let's cross that left ankle over, a little bit of action in that foot here. Find our figure four, any variation that you took before. Hands can come to ankle and knee, and we'll inhale here. We can stay nice and tall if this is enough. We can start to hinge forward if we're looking for a little bit more. And we can even start to melt down if we're looking for even a little bit more. So find the depth of the sensation you're looking for in the stretch. And we'll stay for a few breaths. Just simmer here. See if we can relax through the face. Enjoying a nice hip stretch at the beginning of class. Stay for another breath. And then come on up. And once again, we'll tighten that cross of our legs and we'll come into our seated twist. So we're going to inhale to find length, and we're going to start to sweep our right arm across the body and find the outside of the knee here. Left arm comes behind to the floor or the back of the chair, and a little bit of pushing the leg into the arm into the leg is going to help us find a bit of depth in our twist. So we're going to inhale to find length and exhale to sink deeper in the twist. Staying here for 3. Inhale for length for 2. And exhale for depth for 3. On the next inhale, let's unravel, come around to the front. Maybe you lean over for a counter stretch, and then we all uncross the legs, give them a little shake. Good. So we're going to come into, we've warmed up a little bit now, option to, circle through the ankles a little bit just before we move into our warrior series as I talk a little bit. We're going to move through our warrior 1, 2, with a bit of flowing between reverse warrior and side ankle. And then maybe a triangle pose. We'll see how we go. So pretty classic flow in our warrior series. So for warrior 1 in the chair, we want to turn sideways. So I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to turn so that my right foot steps in front and I'm being supported by the chair underneath my right thigh here. Foot's grounded, and the left leg, the back leg, can step straight out or out on an angle with the foot planted, toes pointing sort of on a 45 degree, as long as that feels okay. If you're standing, it looks basically the same, but you're just not being supported by the chair. And we all want to try and turn the hips to face this front leg. For warrior 1, the ankle is planted, the heel is planted, and we're trying to turn those hips. So it can be a little awkward. If it's not working for you and you'd rather come into a lunge, go for that. Same if seated in the chair. So the lunge, the difference here, of course, is the heel is lifted, and you might find right away it's easier to square off the hips that way. So you're either seated in lunge or warrior 1, or standing in warrior 1 or lunge as well. Arms can be any variation of arms. I'm going to inhale, sweep my arms all the way up here. This is our classic warrior 1, reaching through the fingertips. We can inhale and then exhale, open the arms up, find a cactus. And then as we inhale to open deeper, let's tilt the elbows up towards the sky, tilt the heart up towards the sky, and then we'll exhale and just reach forward in sort of a half humble warrior. And then inhale to open up. Exhale, hinging down again. So move with your breath, find some movement. If you don't want to fold forward, option here would be to inhale, reach up. Exhale, open into your cactus arms. You could do a combo. Inhale here, exhale, inhale to find a bit more opening. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale to open, exhale. You can stick with one or the other or do the combo, whatever works best for you. I'm going to stick with this one here. I'm going to inhale to find opening through the front here. That's feeling good to me. And then exhaling, round down over the leg. Inhale. Exhale, whatever movement you've got going on. Let's do one more here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to open. Exhale, release the hands. I'm just saying release because we're going to transition to warrior two. And with the chair, I need a little bit of help. I need to help lift myself up so I can reposition the hips to face forward now in the chair. Still got this bend in the right leg, and I want to reposition the back leg as well so that it's a bit more aligned to the plane here, the frontal plane. Toes are facing forward rather than on an angle. The hips face this way, not this way. Same with the torso. We're stacking our shoulders over our hips here. Arms come nice and wide. If you're standing, it looks like this. It looks the same in the chair or standing. So I'm staying in my chair today, like I said, for something a little different. Good. So from here, warrior two, let's reach out through the fingers. Find a nice strong warrior two. Couple of options here. Because I'm seated and I can't straighten and bend through the front leg, I'm going to find like a bow and arrow breath. So I'm going to sweep my back arm around to the front here to start. And then I'm going to open up as I inhale. Big draw back on the arrow. Exhale, let it go. You can clap your hand. Inhale to draw back. Exhale. You can do the same if you're standing. Or another option for standing is because you've got the option to straighten through the leg, you can just reach up and exhale. So choosing the option that works for you. I'm going to stick with this bow and arrow here. Inhale, exhale. Inhaling as we draw back, release, exhale. Draw back, exhale. You can make breathy sounds. Really like the idea of sort of slingshotting with a bit of control. Last one here. Exhale. All right. Let's take a big inhale. Exhale the hands down. From warrior two here, let's find a reverse warrior. Left arm reaches down, left leg. Right arm reaches up and over. If you're standing, it looks the same. Think about spinning the bottom ribs towards the front and opening the heart space up towards the ceiling. This hand can rest or can come behind and reach around for the right side body. Let's stay for 3, for 2, and 1. Let's inhale to help bring ourselves back up through warrior two. Let's reach, and then we'll rest elbow on the front knee, and we'll sweep the back arm up or over the head. And if we're coming over the head, you'll see it creates this nice long line of energy. So if you're standing, when we're seated, it's actually quite easy because we're seated and we're connecting to the chair. If we're standing, what we don't want to do is let the hips come up. We want to keep those hips low and keep that nice straight long line of energy. It's easy to keep that line of energy. Not easy, there's still a lot of work, but because we've got the chair there, we naturally want to sit our hips down into it. So it helps us find this shape, this nice alignment here. All right, I've been talking a lot. Let's stay for another breath. One more inhale. If you'd like, you can reach back one more time to counter and then come up through center, release the hands. Let's step the back foot in. Let's come into a forward fold here. For those of us in the chair, option might be to support ourselves with hands on knees. If you're standing, you can squat and do a forward fold. You can have straight legs. And if you're on the floor, do a nice wide leg seated forward fold. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Hinge at those hips. Option to bring the hands down to the ground, whether you're standing or in the chair. Option to stay with a tall back or melt down. Let the head be heavy. It's your choice. Shake it all out. Take a few breaths. And when we're ready, we'll make our way back up. So engage through the core, especially if you have to lift those hands back to hips or knees and hinge all the way back up. Good. Take a couple breaths. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Let's go to the other side. Okay, so we're going to set up for our warrior one facing the other way. I'm just going to move my chair a little bit here. So now I'm going to turn the hips. I've got my left leg forward and bent. Right leg, remember you can be in warrior one with the heel planted, or if it feels better to help get those hips facing forward, come up into your lunge with the heel at the back lifted. I'm going to stay down in warrior one. I just need to scooch myself to the edge of the chair. You organize yourself on your chair however feels best. And we're all going to try and turn those hips forward. Make any adjustments we need, and then we'll inhale to reach the arms up. Now remember, you have options to breathe with tall arms or to hinge forward, or a combination of any of those breath arm positions during the breath work. All right, let's start with nice tall arms reaching up, and then exhale, open up. Now choosing your pattern, take an inhale, exhale. Moving with your own breath, we're inhaling to reach up or open, exhaling to hinge forward, round down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I'm just going to switch positions here. Inhale to reach up if you're doing this. Exhale, open. I'm coming back to the original. Inhale. Exhale. One more big inhale and exhale. Inhale to open up. Good. Exhale, release the hands if you need to help yourself switch the positioning of your chair to come into that warrior two. Front leg here, left leg still bent. Back leg now is straight, toes are facing forward, not on an angle. And you do want to, especially if you're in that lunge, you want to drop that right heel down and find your nice warrior two legs. And we're going to stack the hips and shoulders. And again, regardless of whether you're in the chair or standing, warrior two looks pretty much the same. Arms reach long, looking out over those left fingers. And remember, if you're standing and you have the option to straighten the leg, you can find movement through breath this way by straightening and lifting the arms. If you're with me in your warrior two, we're going to bring the front arm around and go into that bow and arrow. So let's inhale to open all the way up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Strong warrior twos through the legs. Strong warrior two bow and arrow breath. Make it nice and flowy. We'll go for two. And one. Open up, find your warrior two for a breath. And then let's reverse that warrior. So now right arm reaches down the back leg, left arm reaches up or over, opening up through left side body. Remember, we're thinking about spinning these bottom ribs under, opening the heart space up towards the ceiling. This arm can come around the backside body, reach for the left hip if that feels better. Stay for a couple of breaths. And then on the inhale, come back through your warrior two and reach forward. So reach as far as you can until that elbow can find that knee. We're creating that nice long line of energy again. So choosing to maybe use your chair now. If you've been standing doing your warrior two, no problem. Maybe you want to find that support of the chair so that your hips naturally sink down so you can work on creating this nice long line of energy down right side body. Nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to use the chair and that sort of feedback that you get from the chair to keep those hips low. All right, let's keep spinning the heart open, maybe looking underneath the arm, pressing into the support arm at the bottom so we're not just collapsing. We'll stay for three, for two, and one. Use some strength. Come on up through warrior two. You can do one last reverse to stretch it out and then release. Good. Let's step back to a wide leg forward fold. or child's pose. So for child's pose, in the chair, you can draw the legs together and we're just going to hinge forward over top of the thighs. The arms can reach down towards the floor. And we'll just breathe belly into thighs, shake the head yes and no. And then we'll come on up, we'll bring hands to knees and we'll hinge all the way back up. Awesome. Okay, so that is a pretty active warrior series, and we did some stretching at the beginning. We'll do a little bit more stretching here, and then we'll come into our final rest. So we're going to stretch out everything a little bit again. We can choose a wide leg forward fold or bringing legs together and coming into a straight leg forward fold. Now in the chair, depending on the type of chair you have, 2 legs out front might feel a little scary. My chair is a little wobbly for that. So I'm going to do 1 leg at a time to get a behind the leg stretch. And I'm going to use the bent leg here as a bit of support. Sitting up nice and even on the sit bones, take an inhale here, hinge forward, find a forward fold. You can have a little bend in the leg, toes pointing up towards the face. If you're seated on the floor, go ahead, you can fold over both legs. You'll have 2 rounds. So just stretching out the back of the leg. If you're on the floor with both legs out, you can take a break and come on up or stay exactly as you are. The rest of us will change sides. So we're going to step that right foot back in, left foot steps out so it's nice and straight in front of us, mostly straight, small bend is okay. Using the support of the bent leg, we're going to hinge forward, find that hamstring stretch. Ooh, notice the difference from side to side. I'm quite tight on this side. Toes pointing up towards the face if you can, feeling that hamstring stretch. And when we're ready, we'll come on up. And I just want to stretch out the front of the leg. So there's quite a few options here. If we're seated in the chair, I'm just going to turn sideways. We're going to come into a bit of a quad stretch. So we're going to come in to stretching out the front of the leg, so the quads here. And depending on how we angle the hips here a little bit, we can add in a hip flexor stretch. So we're going to see if we can reach back, right arm reaches for right leg. And we're using the support of the chair, aiming that knee straight down and maybe tilting the pelvis under. So we can do this seated. We can do this just by using the chair for support. You don't have to move the chair around. We're just holding onto it to help with balance. And same thing here. Draw the knees straight down towards the earth, and then maybe think about tilting the pelvis under if you want to add in a bit of a hip flexor stretch. So you could be doing this standing, using the chair, or seated. I'm just standing up, still using the chair for support here. I'm going to turn to the front just to show the alignment of the knees. I don't have my knees swung out like this. I'm drawing it down to meet the other one. I'm pointing it straight down towards the floor. Just really focusing on the front quads. Well, the quads, they're in the front regardless, aren't they? All right, let's change sides. And again, you can be in your chair. You just might want to scooch around so you have room to find that quad stretch. You don't need to move your chair. I'm just moving mine. It's pretty easy. And then I'm going to find left ankle with my left hand. And again, I'm not letting the knee wing out here. I'm drawing it down. It's hard to see. Let's see if I can get in front of a bit of light here. Drawing it down to find the other knee. And then tilting my pelvis to add in a bit of a hip flexor stretch. Let's try that from the side. So you can see my knee's not out here. I'm lining it up. And then I'm going to tilt my tailbone under, add that hip flexor stretch. Because we stretched out all the other bits and bobs of our hips and hamstrings and side bodies and shoulders. Time to give the quads a bit of love. So keep readjusting if the knee flails out. Ooh, I'm glad I have my chair for support. I'm falling out even with the support. One of those days, I guess. All right, one more round of breath here. and then release. Good. Let's shake it all out. Let's do a couple rounds of breath. I'm going to make my way back to my chair here. Take a couple of rounds of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Another round here. Inhale. And exhale, draw the hands through heart center, and we're going to make our way to our Shavasana. Now, you can stay seated in your chair, seated on the mat, or of course lying down on your mat, whatever feels best for you. I'm going to find that same nice, position of awareness, but supported by the back of my chair here, so I don't want to slump in, but I am going to use a little bit of the chair as support. I still want to sit up nice and tall. Hands are resting in my lap, palms turned down, feet nicely grounded. And I'm going to close my eyes and start to scan our bodies from head to toe and toe to head. Don't forget those shoulders and arms and fingers and elbows. Once again, just connecting to our breath and noticing where we're connected to our chairs or our mats or our props if we're using props. Noticing if any of those areas that we paid some attention to at the beginning have changed. If they're still there, that's okay. And just let the breath find its natural rhythm as we move into Shavasana, which is a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep, and that we need both every day, and we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. And as always, if your body wants or needs to stay in Shavasana for any longer, by all means, let the video play out or press pause now. We'll see you here again next week. If you are ready to wake up the body, you've had enough rest, go ahead and start to bring some movement, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe circling wrists and ankles. And depending on your positioning, maybe stretching long one more time, or curling into a little ball. And just before finding a nice comfortable seated position one last time, so we can all take a final breath together. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, draw the hands through heart center. You can rest your hands in prayer or rest them over the heart space. Thank you so much for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces and for allowing me to guide you through this Energetic Warrior series. I hope it's exactly what you were looking for. Until we have a chance to flow again, take care. Thanks, everybody. I hope that felt energetic and stretchy and everything that you were looking for. We'll see you here again next week. Bye.